The first time that I really remember coming in contact with the Red Cross was I used to serve as a chaplain with Southeast Bullitt Fire Department in Shepherdsville, or in the Shepherdsville, Kentucky area. And through several natural disasters, tornadoes, the flood of 1997, house fires, various different things, it seemed like that right at the right time when we were about to die of thirst, or the families were, searching where, what they were going to do, where they were going to turn, here would come that Red Cross van pulling up. Life is bigger than just one person. It's about us all. And I might be able to help you individually, but an organization like the Red Cross can reach so many more, and they do reach so many more. April 17th, it's a beautiful day. I believe the temperatures here were probably in the middle to upper 70s. Dad and Taylor decided to go fishing, and they traveled down through the countryside, I don't know, probably half an hour, 45 minutes from here. A pond that we've fished at many times, it's a friend of ours' pond.
I'm thinking, it was a nice day, not too windy, but, I mean, it was a good day to go fishing,
Started fishing, but wasn't having any luck where we was at down by the dam part of the pond. So we just launched the little John boat out into the water. Taylor got in, and I pushed us off and jumped in as we moved out into the water. I made a cast, and somehow or other I kind of raised up when I made the cast. And when I did that, why, I sat back down unevenly on that boat, and it just flipped over and threw both of us in the water.
Although the air temperature was very, very warm, and thankfully they were in their shirt sleeves, didn't have jackets or anything on, the water temperature was still about 45 degrees.
Just a big old, wave of, fear just came across me.
The first thing I thought about was saving him. I didn't want him, I didn't know what would happen, and I'd forgotten he could swim, see, and so yes, my main priority was to keep him alive, and then it turned out to be he had to keep me alive.
Grandpa got me on top of the boat, then I started, thinking of what we could do to get ourselves to the bank.
He said, Papa, we're going to have to make a swim for that bank over there. It was then that I remembered that Rusty had taught Taylor to swim. So I told him, I said, go for it, boy. And he did, and I was getting ready, and I had this heart attack. There was something just wrapped around me like a water sheet or something like that. And then I started taking in the water, and there was no pain, no fear.
I was thinking, I got to save him, before I save myself again.
And I went down and up and down and up, and he saw me come up the third time, and then he couldn't see me no more.
I went out there about, halfway where he was, and I went down once, and I kind of lost, I wasn't ready for it. So I came up and got a deep breath and went down again and swam down. When I was, looking for him, I finally felt his overalls, and then I just pulled up. I'm keeping his head up with my elbow, and then holding him like this, and then swimming with one hand. And finally we get to the bank.
For an 89-pound boy to pull a 223-pound man from the bottom of a pond to the bank.
And my dad wasn't breathing, and he wasn't responding. His jaws were clenched shut, his eyes rolled back in the back of his head, and Taylor began to work on him.
I put my head by his nose, and he wasn't breathing. So then I, had to open his mouth, and there was just a little bit of moss in there. I give him 2 hard breaths of rescue breathing, and then finally he coughs up some water, and then I knew that he must be breathing. I decided to run up to the house, and I pounded on the door, saying that my grandpa drowned and that he needs help.
Our friend, she told me, she said to Rusty, I will never forget when I heard the doorbell ring and then pounding on the door, and I opened the door, and there stood that little boy covered from head to toe in moss. And he said, can you please come help me? My papa's drowning. So they went down to the water's edge, and no dad. They can see the boat turned over, my dad's orange hat floating, and my friend told me, he said, Rusty, he said, all I could think is Brother Watson's in the bottom of the pond. And then Taylor began to say, no, no, I went down the wrong way, he's over here. So back up the round they went, down the hill, and then there was Dad, but he had slipped back into the water to where only just his face was showing. And so they climbed down to him, and they were only able to pull him, with all of them working, they were still only able to pull him up to about his hips out of the water. Somebody went and called 911. It took 6 men and with a basket and a fellow at the top pulling with a rope to lift him to the top of the hill. That's how steep the hill was right there.
Without the American Red Cross, my grandpa wouldn't probably be here today, because I would have never known, you know, the right procedures that you had to do.
And this is what I say to everybody. Never underestimate what you do to help a child or tell a child. I'd like to shake the hand of the person who went into his classroom and taught what they taught. They probably didn't think they made an impact. But I think you can tell from our story today is that they did.
Gratitude. Grateful. Thank God. Thank God.
We plan to get more involved with the Red Cross, American Red Cross.
Yeah.
The Red Cross doesn't wait for people that they know. They instill this spirit that there is every day a human being somewhere who needs a helping hand, and they're going to be there.